But what is a mobile accessibility, or what are the steps? Let us talk about that. So, systematic evaluation of mobile accessibility is a structured process to identify, document and prioritize accessibility barriers in mobile applications. The framework is largely similar to web accessibility evaluation methodologies. But then there are different tools, and then there are different aspects to it, which we will talk about. So, what it should cover is visual accessibility audit. So, whether the contrast, the size of the buttons, the color, all of that is in place or not, is it compliant or not. Then it checks screen reader compatibility. So, whether your apps are able to function with OS based screen readers, which is your talkback, voiceover or not. It checks for motor accessibility. So, whether the touch targets and the gestures required, is it like too many, the gestures required requires a very complex manipulation of fingers, all of those assessment we have to do. Then there is cognitive accessibility related audit. So, then whether the items, the sequence of information has clarity, has consistency and all of that. Then there is hearing related accessibility audit. So, whether the captions are loading or not, whether your applications are able to utilize the on OS softwares available, visual alerts, whether it is able to do. So, basically there are two types of audits. So, one is a quick audit, which is your 2 to 4 hours of audit. So, automated scan plus basic manual checks, which is good for regular development checks. Comprehensive audit, right, 2 to 5 days of full manual testing, assistive technology, user workflows, good for pre-launch, legal compliance, etc. The output is that a list of issues with WCAG references, severity rating of each issue and remediation guidance is documented and presented in an audit report. So, this is basically your audit framework, and it has 5 key areas, 5 key verticals. And again, it is similar to your web digital accessibility, and the same POUR verticals are there. Apart from that, there is a platform guidelines which is there. So, you can add one more. So, the perceivable vertical area 1, it talks about your color contrast, text size, scalability, image, alt text, video captioning, audio descriptions, etc. Your operability is your touch target size, whether it's minimum compliant or not, whether there is keyboard access available for all functions, switch access available for all functions. Time limits are not imposed on interactions, no flashing content is there. Then you have the understandability vertical, so consistency in navigation patterns, clearer error messages, predictable interactions, simple clear language usage, right. So, I think we have kind of gone through, but this particular framework is used in mobile accessibility audit. So, this is quite useful if you are doing a mobile app development, for example. Then we have to check for the robustness, which is R. So, whether it works with your screen readers, talkback, voiceover, is it compatible with other switching devices, does it handle dynamic content correctly or not, whether it supports OS level accessibility settings or not. This one is quite important because most of the time people have their customized settings already added to their phones, and every new app, if they have to keep repeating the same thing, it is not a very good user experience. The fifth vertical talks about platform guidelines. So iOS human interface guidelines, and then Android material accessibility guidelines. These are some guidelines which are related to your OS level development and OS level compliance. So make sure that whenever you are making an app, you are apprised of these guidelines as well, and whether your application is following human interface guidelines of iOS as well as the accessibility guidelines for Android. I would also like to kind of discuss one very interesting case study, and which kind of shocked Apple, and this was a major banking app audit. And even the best, it's like a big corporation, we're not trying to name the corporation, but it's a big banking app corporation, and the audit was being done. The app, it is amongst the top 5 downloaded banking apps. About 50 million downloads. Assumption is that yes, we are a big company, we must be accessible. When the audit started, the tester enables talkback on Android, opens app to check account balance. First minute, the login button announced as button. No label on the button. 50 million users are using this, and still it is announcing the label as button. It's a basic level failure, basic level compliance failure. By the minute 3, account balance screen reader reads text, X dollars. Cannot identify which account has which balance. In the 7th minute, it was almost embarrassing. Transfer money button, completely invisible to talk back. 50 million users cannot transfer money, and screen reader is silent about it. By the 15th minute, transaction history list, every item reads list item, right? No date, no amount, no merchant. So how do you understand what is the meaning of transaction history? There's no date, there's no amount, there is no who it is being transferred to or transacted at. The audit result was that there were almost 47 critical violations, core banking functions completely blocked for blind users. App had a 4.8 star rating on the download, the Apple Store or the Play Store, and there were 50 million plus downloads. So the lesson here is, what we want to say is, the lesson is that star ratings don't measure accessibility. And downloads, the number of downloads, they don't guarantee inclusivity. Even industry leaders can fail basic testing. So it is, although all of it might seem as, this is so obvious why it is being kind of made a big deal about, it is apparently not that obvious. And now with policies and laws around accessibility in place, it is important that the developers and the designers, they recognize that this testing, this audit needs to be done in order to ensure that their application is accessible. So now let us jump into the testing framework for mobile accessibility and mobile apps, and tools that find issues automatically. So what are the different tools that we can use for accessibility audit and accessibility testing? So one is of course your Android based tools, which is your accessibility scanner, which is your Google based tool. It is available free and you can utilize that. It is on device scanner which is available. It can scan touch targets, contrast, labels, etc. It can record mode for user flows, etc. Then there is another tool called Espresso, and along with accessibility check. So it is a automated testing suite integration and it is CI/CD compatible. Then iOS tools, so Xcode, accessibility inspector, element inspection and audit function. So this tool is again quite popular. Xcode testing, accessibility, so again automated UI testing. So you can kind of Google these names and dive into each one of them. And then there is your cross platform Axe DevTools. We have spoken about this in detail in one of the previous sessions. You can go back to that session and see the DevTools section. And other than that, there are all of these other tools which are also available. However, similar to your web testing, automated tools can only find 30% of the issues, and it will still need manual testing for the remaining 70%. So now when we talk about manual testing with screen readers, so the essential human testing layer is like you have to start your talkback settings. You have to start your talkback. So you have to go to your settings, to accessibility, you go to talkback and turn it on, and then engage with your application. So check the different gestures, swipe right, swipe left for next and previous elements, double tap to activate, 2-finger swipe for the scroll and all of those. Then if it is iOS, you have to go to your settings, accessibility, voiceover, and then turn it on. Key gestures here again, same, swipe right, swipe left, double tap to activate, and 3-finger swipe to scroll. And when you're doing manual testing with screen readers, every element has a meaningful label. You should check that. It should not be labeled as button. If the button is submit button or login button, then it has to have that signifier. The screen reader should announce that semantic signifier. The focus doesn't get lost after multiple interactions. The custom components are announced correctly. So all of these, in this process, the critical rule is that you test talkback with Android and you test voiceover with iOS to as well as iOS to analyze different behaviors and different bugs. And if you are assuming that your same app, your gaming app or whatever it is, you are hoping to publish it in both the domains for wider use, wider user base, wider audience, it is important that you test with both all these OSs. So let us do a quick exercise with this. So you have 10 minutes to audit this app. So it is like a live accessibility audit challenge. I would request all of you to take out your phones. If it is a Apple iPhone, please go to your talkback, your settings. Let us go back here. So if you have an iOS phone, an Apple phone, please activate your voiceover through this route, and if you have an Android phone, please activate your talkback through this route. Go to settings, accessibility, turn on talkback or turn on voiceover, and then we will try to do this 10-minute audit challenge. So I would request you to as soon as I am finished talking about these aspects, maybe you can pause the video and continue doing it for the 2 minutes. So for example, I am sure all of you might be using some or the other food delivery app. It may be Swiggy, it may be Zomato, it may be Uber Eats, anything which you are using. And let's open that app on your smartphone with talkback and voiceover activated. So the task 1 is visual check. So let us take 2 minutes to first do a visual check. So you can check whether the text is readable, whether it is high contrast or not, are the buttons large enough to tap. So maybe you can pause the video right here and return after 2 minutes. Now I hope you have completed the first task, and let us now go to task 2, which is now we want to do a touch target test. So tap the smallest button on the screen, try to do that, or tap add to cart icon. Did your finger hit correctly every time? Check that. Check that on each page. How many buttons are there? On delivery apps, there is, for example, if you've added a burger, if you want to increase the number of burgers, that small plus sign is there. Try to tap that, try to increase the number, try to add that pickle, try to add that ketchup. Are you able to do those add-ons with those small buttons? Test that for the next 3 minutes and return to, please pause the video here. Continue doing that for different screens of the app. I hope you have been experimenting with the touch target for the previous 3 to 4 minutes. Now let us move to our task 3, which is our screen reader test. So now you enable talkback voiceover on your phone and try to order one item. What most people discover is that it is announcing images as image, image, image. So there are multiple labels but no semantic signifier. Or it says the cart button is just button with no label. The prices are, it says read out of order. It reads out of order. For some, item it is reading some other number, etc. Then the checkout may be completely inaccessible. So first let us try to do this screen reader test for 5 minutes and try to order something. I hope you don't land up with some funny burger or pizza on some other person's address, but still let us try to do that for the next 5 minutes. You can pause the video right here and you can return to the video. So I hope you did try ordering with your talkback or voiceover on, and in these previous 10 minutes, I am sure you might have found some very serious issues and which gets shipped to millions of users, maybe in India or globally also. There are a few, so based on this understanding, now let us kind of try to understand some of the different aspects. So we did mention about color contrast and touch target audit. So when we are doing touch target audit, we are primarily testing for motor accessibility. And touch target requirements as per WCAG is, for iOS it is minimum 44 by 44 points, and then for Android it is 48 by 48 dp. Spacing between targets should be 8 point minimum. How to audit? So manual method is that you tap each element with your pinky. Pinky finger is your little finger, or knuckle. Any, this knuckle part of your hand, and if it misses, that means the target is too small. There is an image to kind of illustrate what we are talking about. Accessibility scanner is able to automatically flag some of the targets below the 48 dp mark. So it can just give you a correct, incorrect, or compliant, incompliant, black and white answer. But a manual method is able to test a lot of other aspects as well. Then there may be gesture complexity. So any swipe only gestures actions are there. So do I need a button alternative for that? If it is all the gestures are multi-finger, do I need a single finger option for that? Then are there too many time sensitive interactions? Do I need more time to that to do that? So you have to check about all of these aspects when you're doing your gesture and touch target audit. And as per the WCAG compliance, there is all multi-point gestures must have a single pointer alternative also. So any gesture which requires 2 points or 2 hands to be used, there must always be an alternative which only one-handed person or people who do not have enough dexterity are still able to use. So example, pinch to zoom requires your 2 fingers. But if there is a zoom button which has that plus and minus with the magnifying glass, I'm sure you might have seen, right? So this kind of a gesture. So that means you can just tap on this plus, which is a single touch gesture, and same thing you can do with 2 fingers also, right? But if this is not present, then this criteria is violated. So check for this, that any gesture which is multi-finger gesture is always having a single finger gesture as alternative as well. So some of the common accessibility violations that are seen is, of course, the first one which we discussed in the previous slide, that insufficient touch target size, missing labels and icons and icon signifier and button signifiers with no accessible names, low contrast text, unlabeled form fields, images without alt text and screen readers just say image or file name, no keyboard access, cannot navigate without touch, broken focus, order, tab swipe, jumps illogically. So, I mean, this we have discussed in detail that the screen reader is a sequential format. So, because it is kind of announcing each item one by one in a sequential format, the order in which it is able to access those items have to be a logical order. And it may be entirely different from how the GUI is representing it, right? So, and then custom gestures required, swipe only actions with no alternatives. So, or auto playing content or carousels without pause control. Time limits, sessions expire without warning. All of those are the most commonly occurring failures. So, just to kind of sum up, if you are starting off with a accessibility test plan, have these steps kind of documented before starting. So, there can be primarily 5 components of a mobile audit plan. The first is scope definition. So, which screens and features need to be tested, scoping, which we call, then whether the app is going to run on Android and or iOS, OS versions, which are the different OS versions you need to support and test accordingly. Then what are the different success criteria we are talking about? Are we seeking level AA compliance for WCAG 2.2? Then you have to ensure that there are no critical blockers and there is screen reader usability. The testing approach can be that you do the automated scan first with the automated tools, then you do a manual testing with assistive technology, then you do a user testing with people with disabilities. And then you kind of document your issues, and you categorize them into severity, so high, medium, low, critical severity, and then you plan steps to reproduce or answer them. You suggest remediation. So, and the timeline and resources have to be planned out as well. So, what duration, what would be the expected duration of the audit? Who in the team would take up what roles in the testing process, and of course the budget allocation. While there are frameworks and tools, and we are talking about different kinds of aspects of auditing and accessibility testing with automated tools and with manual tools, manual processes, it is actually a never-ending process. Accessibility auditing is a continuous process, and you may be required to do it at several instances during the whole product life cycle and product development cycle. So yeah, so say for example, you did it one time and you've passed all the requirements, you say we're done. So but with every update, there is a risk. New feature is added. If it is not compliant with the existing accessibility value system, there is limited consistency, you have to retest it. So it is very important that a continuous audit cycle is practiced. So one is that every 2 weeks there is the accessibility audit where the developers themselves are doing this testing. Then there is a release level. So every version, every update, there is a full QA with manual, user and automated testing. And then after the release, there is comprehensive audit every quarter, right? Which includes your testing with disabled participants and updation of remediation priorities. And then there is an annual third-party professional auditing and WCAG compliance reviews, because maybe you would think that, okay, I have not added any updates this year, but maybe WCAG has updated their guidelines. So now the benchmark has changed. So that means that there has to be a review again. And then having an annual third party professional audit can help in not just compliance against legal issues, but it also kind of gives a external perspective to your accessibility issues as well. So the idea is that keep doing this quality analysis, accessibility analysis throughout the journey of the development as well as post-launch. It should still be audited before every update is released. It should still be audited if you are catering to multiple users. It should still be audited every quarter and by an external team of professionals annually, hopefully. I hope all of these guidelines are useful. And if you are planning to start your own organization, planning to develop applications and launch them as individual entrepreneur, or you are part of bigger organizations which are already having several successful products out in the market, but they are not really aware about all of these processes around accessibility and accessibility audit, I'm sure for both of these categories of learners, it is going to be a very good understanding and good learning. And I'm sure you'll be able to pass this information and use this information in your day-to-day professional journey. Thank you for joining us today. I will see you in the next session.